Good evening, Los Angeles. Manifold here. I hope everybody's having a phenomenal day today. In the recent weeks, actually probably within the last month and a half, we have seen so many negative crashes and optimization issues with Helldivers 2, of course. I've talked about a lot of them on my channel here, and if you guys haven't seen those videos, definitely check them out if you want to. But we need to address the question of, should Arrowhead make a Helldivers 3? You know, at this point, the Stingray engine has just caused more problems than it's fixed, especially more recently, and having this discussion, I think, is definitely necessary. Now, in my mind, should Arrowhead make Helldivers 3? The short answer is no. Absolutely not. The long answer is a bit more complicated because there are a lot of pros, in my opinion, that would come about them making a Helldivers 3. But in my mind, I think the negatives far outweigh the benefits at this current moment. But I think that we should still have the discussion nonetheless. Consider liking the video, subscribing if you like to talk about Helldivers 2 and have a lot of discussions. I love making videos on it, so let's jump right in. Let's start off with the pros of them making a Helldivers 3. And of course, the biggest pro that anybody can talk about and that anyone could see is we would get a completely new engine, hopefully. An engine that could support bigger updates and a bigger game. An engine that could support 5-6 man squads, maybe even multiple squads on the same planet, you know, like in the same mission, or more operations in a mission, or a deeper levolution and, you know, like level design, I should say. In my opinion, there would be nothing but positives when it comes to designing a game, or, you know, especially having like an updated engine into it. I'm not saying Unreal 5, Lord knows, we do not want Unreal 5. I do not want Unreal 5. You know, if they were to make a Helldivers 3, absolutely not. But having an updated engine, I feel, would only benefit the game. We would have the potential to, as I wrote down in my script here, the stars are the limit. You know, that sounds corny, but we would be near limitless, you know, especially if the game were to have an updated engine, or, you know, if we were to see a change like that. Fewer crashes, I would hope. Fewer freezes. Updates might not be as broken when they come out. You know, it would provide a lot more stability, I think, to the game, especially with each update. As the bigger these updates have gotten that we've gotten in Helldivers 2, the worst things have gotten. You know, Into the Unjust is our biggest example of this because it's, of course, the most current one that we've had. Enemies turning invisible, game issues, crashing, freezing, hitching, you know, just regardless of whether you have the game on an SSD or an HDD, whether you are, you know, playing on console. I've had a lot of people in my comments saying that even if they're on console, that they've been having problems as well. A new engine, I think, would fix a lot of this. Now, like I said, I don't know how to design a game. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know how engines are coded or how engines are used. I'm just saying what I've heard a lot from Arrowhead. Arrowhead themselves have stated multiple times that the Stingray engine is what's holding this game back. You know, because the Stingray engine was discontinued, I think, back in 2019, and it has not been updated since. It was 2019 to 2018, but the point is, it's a very older engine, and they have done great work with it on Helldivers 2, as you can see from the footage here. The Hive Lord, Bile Titan, beautiful, gorgeous. The game is phenomenal and looks fantastic when it works. But that's the problem, when it works. The fact that there's not a guarantee that the game will always work. Now, of course, I'm not talking about a day or two when the game can't be played. We're going on, I think this is the 5th week now, where I can hardly boot the game without freezing, or my game like turning into a PNG slideshow. I can't even get out of my Super Destroyer without the game freezing. And it has been 5 weeks. It has legitimately been, I think, since mid-September, early to mid-September, where I have not been able to play the game. And that is ridiculous. You know, I love this game, and I love this community, and Arrowhead has been amazing with their updates, and the lore of this game, I think, is fantastic. I absolutely adore this game, but not being able to play it stinks, and having a new engine would, I would guess, fix those problems. Now, what would happen to Helldivers 2 if we are on the topic? You know, in my opinion, what they should do if they were to make Helldivers 3 is sunset Helldivers 2 and carry everything over to Helldivers 3. We've seen this with Counter-Strike. We've seen this with Overwatch. Now, I'm not saying every game needs to be like Overwatch and Counter-Strike, but if they were going to make a new game, especially a game like this where there's so much customization. And of course, there could be more. I talk about that in a different video. I don't want to sound ungrateful. There could be more, but I feel like sunsetting the game and carrying everything over to the next game and having even more war bonds, more things would be amazing. Now, of course, we won't address, meta balancing and gun balancing and whatnot in this video, because of course that is another big issue with the game. But in terms of content, sunsetting Helldivers 2, and whether you upgrade to Helldivers 3 for $30 or completely for free, I would love it for free, would be amazing. But of course, looking at it from a business standpoint, with the dev time and whatnot they would have to put into creating an entirely new game and working with a new engine, of course, the dev time and the money that costs can't be ignored. So maybe providing like a $30 charge for it, maybe another $40 charge, to go over to the next game, sunset Helldivers 2, and, go forward. Which, of course, this leads me into my cons, because I know what I just said was a positive would be, pay $40 to upgrade and sunset Helldivers 2. Well, that also wouldn't be a great idea also. And I know I sound like I'm contradicting myself, but I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here, looking at both sides. The negatives of that is here in the US, and I don't know what it's like in the world, I really don't. I'm ignorant of that, and I shouldn't be. But we're in a pretty negative economic crisis right now, where people are having trouble affording groceries and that are just struggling to pay their rent. And for somebody that bought Helldivers 2, a year and a half ago, they might have been in a better financial position then. And if they were to sunset Helldivers 2 and have you pay extra to upgrade to Helldivers 3, that would be a very big negative. Arrowhead has prided themselves, and we've seen them pride themselves on releasing a game that was far, far below the AAA price, and that had, way better content and a plethora more of content and microtransactions that weren't going to, charge you out the wazoo. That would be the biggest negative in my mind, would be to charge $40 or AAA price for a new game. Because like I said earlier, we can't ignore the fact that the dev time and the manpower it takes to develop a game is becoming increasingly more expensive. Now, I don't know how I don't know if they were able to cut costs by using the Stingray engine. I don't know how that was able to go, but it costs money to make these games, and that would be the biggest barrier to entry in my mind. So they would, in my opinion, have to sunset Helldivers 2 and have the upgrade to Helldivers 3 be free, but I don't know what that would look like from a business or analytical standpoint, of course. Now, of course, my next biggest issue with them potentially even making a Helldivers 3, of course, would be the division of manpower. So like I said, it's been about 5 weeks since I have been able to play Helldivers 2, and it sucks because I missed the game. But then we would, for this game, get far, far less updates. The updates that break the game would probably break the game for even longer and might even break the game more. The division of manpower would even would put a splinter in it even further, and that would not be good for the game or for the community. I feel like that would be terrible, and not to mention we would have to probably wait another 4 to 5 years if they were to try to make another Helldivers. And in my opinion, that wouldn't be worth it. And that's why I said in the beginning of the video, I wouldn't want them to make another one. I would want them to, like I said, I don't know how this looks. I don't know what this looks like in terms of dev power and, developing something. I would want them to fix the current game, and to make it the best game it could be. And the CEO of Arrowhead came out a few weeks ago and said that they wanted to make the game like RuneScape, a forever game, which I'm completely on board with. I'm absolutely on board with that. But we, of course, can't ignore the fact that the game sometimes does not even run. The game doesn't run. Each update has been breaking the game even more. And that, like I said earlier, that's not even to talk about the weapon balancing. The weapon balancing, grunt fantasy, the focus on realism, and all of these balance issues. We haven't even talked about those issues yet. And I won't talk about them in this video. I'll talk about them in another video. But that might make it even worse. And I don't know what that would even look like either. But I want them to fix the current game. To end this long ramble, this long rant, to reiterate what I said earlier, should Arrowhead make Helldivers 3? No, in my opinion, no. There are caveats to it. There are positives and negatives to making a Helldivers 3. I don't think they should at this point, but we should have the conversation, and I feel like we should all be encouraged to have the conversation, whether or not that would be a good idea or not. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Would you guys be on board with the Helldivers 3? Would you guys be on board with them just continuing to update Helldivers 2 no matter how long the updates took? Because at this point, not being able to play the game, for me, of course, and I'm just one player, not being able to play the game for 5 weeks has sucked. And I am probably not even the one that's the worst off. You know, I'm sure there are people that their game might be broken every single update, and there are people that might not even be able to open the game. Let me know what you guys thoughts are down below. I want to know, is your game working? Is your game broken? What do you think about a Helldivers 3 versus a trying to keep Helldivers 2 going for a long time? Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate your guys' time. Consider subscribing if you like content like this and want to keep talking about Helldivers 2, because I will keep talking about it as long as I have things to say. Stay hydrated, everybody. Stay healthy. Have a phenomenal rest of your day. Take care, guys.